Hi, my name is Shalon, and I'm here to help you find your next favorite book and your next favorite author. And I'm so excited to be here with J.R. Mason, who is an indie author who seamlessly combines pulse pounding thrills and dark humor to create unforgettable series with plenty of twists and then more than a few deadly ends. There is a book in her catalog you will enjoy. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. Glad I
Yes.
got to make it.
Yeah. I'm glad you could make it as well. And I would just love to start to get an idea of like what first sparked your love for storytelling.
Oh my gosh. That would probably be childhood. I don't know what I was doing. I was writing naughty stories too. They
Oh
were
wow.
naughty. I think because my mom had those those books that they kind of yellowish and the page is torn off, the cover is torn off because it's gonna be like super. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So
Canoodling on the covers.
so I found those books in her little bookshelf that was in the headboard, and I would
Mhm.
be reading those little Nancy books, and I was like, well, I could do better than this. I'm gonna write one with a storyline and a plot.
Okay.
And
And
so,
what age was this?
oh gosh, like 10.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So blame it on my mama. All of it. Any type of drama, trauma, anything. We're blaming her today. I love her.
Were outside of the naughty stories, were there any stories that you were especially drawn to or you really enjoyed as a reader initially?
No, because honestly, I was not a reader until like really reading until a little bit before I wrote my first book. Um,
Mm, mhm.
when I was growing up, my mom would punish me and I wouldn't like no TV, no phone, none of that, just sit in
Mm,
your room. And she's like, but you can read. I don't I don't want to read. It's stupid. Like, I want to watch television and movies and stuff. So
mm,
yeah, I didn't read. And then grad school, they give you a book the size of your thigh and they're like, we're gonna test you on this semester. And it's like, this is horrible. So why would I want to
mhm.
read like if I don't actually have to?
Right.
Then
Yeah.
one of my friends wrote a book and I was like, okay, let me read this book. And I was like, oh, well, this wasn't half bad. And then I started reading and then I wrote Confessions and then I started reading more. And then I wrote Confessions 2, which everyone said was better than Confessions 1 because the more you read, the better you write.
Mhm.
And then the rest was history. I just was consuming books like crackhead.
What book did your friend write? Which book was that?
Called In Plain Sight by Edmund Dacocha.
Mm. Was that a thriller or what
Yeah, it was
genre is
like a
that
crime thriller
one?
type. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to paint a profile since you lean to the crime area to see if that's just like what you personally enjoy and consume, so then that's what you end up writing, or if we need to check any sheds or anything, depending on what you've been planning.
Probably need to check a few sheds, but that's the type of television I watch is like
Mm,
Criminal Minds, SVU, like any crime show, basically,
mhm.
cops, medical drama, stuff like that. So, people are being slaughtered one way or another. So, yeah, that's what I ended up writing more of.
What do you think draws you to those types of stories? Like, what about those types of stories do you enjoy?
The murder,
Just the murder element?
getting away with it, how the people get away with it. Can the
Mm,
people get away with it? Did they do it right?
yes. Are you evaluating when you're watching of like, you should have done this differently because then you could have gotten
Absolutely.
away with it?
Yes, I'm like, y'all should have read How to Kill Your Neighbors. You could have avoided all of this. Like, and a lot of times I figure it out. I'm like, oh, this is the person who did it, and this is why they did it.
Mhm.
And I'm usually on or very close. So yeah.
So are you more drawn to the act and seeing if they'll be caught, or of like trying to solve it and figure out like who it is? Because I know sometimes you know who it is at the beginning, and then it's like, okay, let's see if they're going to get away with it, or you have no idea, and then you have to like piece it together.
So they had a show like that. I cannot remember for the life of me what it was called, but it was so good. And they show you the upfront, this is the crime,
Mm-hmm.
this is who did it. And
Mm-hmm.
then they work backward and you get to see like, and I like that, the whole mental part of it. Like, why did you do this? What were you thinking that drove you to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And I like to explore those elements in my books.
Yeah.
I should ask you what draws you to reading the crazy stuff we write? Mhm.
I I'm I would say I'm a more passive thriller reader. Like I'm not necessarily trying to like pull the pieces together and figure out who did it. I just want to see the ride. I just want to see like, okay, what's going to happen next? I do like suspense. So like when you get like that feeling on the back of your neck where you're like, wait, I know something is going to happen, but I don't know exactly what it is. That draws me to like suspense or thrillers or mysteries more so. Like sometimes I can like piece it together, but that's not necessarily my goal. I don't go into it like I need to figure it out before the author tells me. I'm just like, I just want to see how this plays out, like how the characters interact together.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, your first books were not suspense. And what was based on like your dating life? What made you write that first confessions book?
So I would always put my dates on social media, like the story,
Mm,
after the fact, because they were always so outlandish and unbelievable. Like, who's gonna believe this? These people probably think I'm making this up. I'm not. I promise I'm not making it up. So, and then I would do some on YouTube where I would, tell the stories of the dates. And everyone was like, you need like a vlog, you need a Netflix show, you need a book, you need something like, because this is
mhm,
crazy. These are crazy. And so when I got furloughed at work during COVID, that's when one of my friends was like, you need to just write your book. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. It sounds like a lot of work. It was. I was like 7 days a week, sun up to sundown. I was writing for the entire time I was furloughed.
mhm,
It only took 6 weeks, but that's only because I already had all the stories. All I had to do was put them in some sort of sensible order and make it read like it's not just date, 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 date,
mhm,
that
mhm.
tell a story over the course of a year. And so I had all the material. All I had to do was put it together. And so that's what happened.
And how did you go from finally deciding to like put it together and using your time as your furloughed and then actually publishing? Because I know there's a lot more that goes into a book being out there than just writing the writing the book. So, what was that process like to actually like decide to publish and then actually publish?
Well, so oddly enough, that same person whose book I read, Edmund Dakocha,
Mhm,
he writes a lot of spy thrillers and stuff, but he's really good. But he's the one who helped me a lot. So typically, if an author comes to me with questions, I always answer them. I don't like gatekeep because he didn't. So if you have
mhm,
questions, you can always come out answer them. So he was very helpful in getting like giving me the information to get published. Like, you want to get it copyrighted, you want to do this, in this kind of like
mhm.
order. And so that's what I did. And I was like, I never need to do this again. Like, when I tell you about how I never need to do this again, like I literally never need to do this again. And I did not plan to ever do this again. Like, y'all laugh and y'all think I'm playing. I'm the only author who is diligently trying to stop authoring, but I keep getting bullied by people like you.
I think of it as persistent encouragement. I would not call that bullying.
Wow. Okay. Well, either way, it took 2 years for me to finally get a Confessions Part 2 because I had
Mhm,
no intentions of writing it.
mm,
And I'm mildly annoyed that I did because it's combined with like the dates, but also weirdest things happen in my life. Like the weird, like you don't understand like I could just sit out on the porch and craziness just finds me, right?
Mm.
So these books combine my actual real life weirdness that happens
Mhm.
and the dates. But the first one was focused on the dates, and then the second one has a lot of the dates, but also the weird like life stuff. And so if I'd have known I was going to write two, I would have like spread those out, like brought more
Mm.
dates and
Mhm.
more weird life in here. Because craziness, like it's all true. That's the crazy part. Like you would think I made half of this stuff up, and I literally didn't.
Yeah. It's really interesting to read those experiences because I think a lot of folks can relate to them even if it's like I cannot believe this actually this actually happened in real life. But as we're on social media every day, the craziest things come up and they're actually true. So being able to read it in book form is also a way of doing that, of like wanting to get into the mess, but then it being someone else's mess. So thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Did you read Confessions yet or no?
No, not yet. I have it on my list, but I did look at a little bit of it. And I've seen some of your stories about your dates as well. So if it's even a if
And
it's
those
even a
were
fraction of that, I know I'll
so
enjoy it.
mild, those recent ones. These are the crazy ones. Like we've gotten better as we've aged. Like they're like a little less crazy.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. And then there's
So
a crazy bonus chapter in book two because
okay.
the main character, not the main character, but the main kind of love interest in the series, I was like, just please don't lie to me. Don't lie. That's all I want you to do is not lie. And he lied again. And I was like, this is the last straw. I'm putting this in the book. The one thing he didn't want in the book, now it's in the book. I was
Mhm.
just as wrong as he was, and I admitted that. I acknowledged it, but it's now in the book, and it is crazy.
Okay, I definitely have to read that then, so I can see what happened. So what was the shift between the Confession series and then Stolen Pieces and like getting into more of that like crime fiction?
Well, so I was done writing. I was like, okay, I've published a book too. I'm done. I'm good. And then I was laying on the massage table and I said to my massage therapist, what if there was a cop who, you
Mhm.
read Stone Pieces, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay. And she was like, oh, okay, that would be fun. You're going to write it? And I'm like, I guess. So I wrote it and I tied it up in a bow and it was done. And the
Mhm.
readers was like, the fuck you did? That's not done. We need to know what happens now that you done let the crazy loose. Like, we need to know.
Right.
I'm like, no, the crazy is fine. It went to work. It's good. And they're like, no, we need to know. So it was, part two was only supposed to be a 30,000 word novella.
Mhm.
That ended up being twice as long, but it was so good. So I wasn't mad. I
Mhm.
was mad. I was mad. The bill for editing that was like ridiculous, but yeah.
One thing I really enjoy about that series is you go into it thinking the characters are going to behave or act in one way, and everyone has a secret. Everyone is not who they appear to be, and you learn that as you progress through each of the books, because maybe you think you know who someone is, but then by book two or book three, you find out that you actually you actually don't. So can you talk to me a little bit about like you had that idea and then you decided to write it? How did you keep the pieces together as much as possible as you were like plotting it out? Like I know you said you were just going to do the one, but then you ended up doing two more. So what was that process like?
Nightmare on Elm Street. It was horrible because everything, excuse me, there's there's an order to everything, right?
Mhm.
And I had to make sure that like I tried to space it out enough because on TV they make it look like, you give them a fingerprint and then boom, you have all of this
Right.
information, or you give them the blood and they boom, they mysteriously have results. But that's not how it works in real life. It takes time. So I was trying to space, like we found the body in like say chapter 3. You're not getting results to what happened with this body until like chapter 6 or 7 because I'm trying to spread it out. But in that time where we're trying to find out who this person is, why this person was unalived, more murders have happened in this span, right? So they're accumulating, but now tests are building, So I just keeping everything spaced and making sure you got results to every murder. That was hella work. But Mr. McCain, are you familiar? You're familiar with Mr. McCain?
Yes.
Actually, Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and he read the books, and he was like, "Man!" So if the police can read the books and be like, then I feel like I did.
Yeah, that's good. Did you have any like law enforcement officers like looking at early drafts, or did you do research, or like what did you do to like get that process to like show up as authentic as possible?
I consulted everyone. When I say everyone, I'm talking about like the detective, the police officer, because those are two completely different jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Lieutenant, the canine officer, the canine specialist. That group, Allegheny Mountain Rescue Group that's in there. That's a real cadaver dog group here in Pittsburgh. So I talked to her. She told me how the cadaver dogs behave. Like we were on the phone for hours. Just that medical doctors, even like the garbage men, so I get the terminology right. And I sent them the exact alley that all this stuff went down in I think the first book. I was like, how would you pick this trash up because it's kind of narrow? And he was telling me how someone has to get out of the truck, they have to like hitch it up to do the thing. So he's giving me all this information. So yeah, I consulted everyone. Now no one read the final draft, until it was like done. But as an author, of course, I have to take some creative liberties, but I tried to keep it as close as possible. And I think that's probably the most disturbing part because you're reading it and you're like, this could really happen.
Yes, unfortunately. So like I do not want to open my door and have a foot there at all.
That because even with my Ring doorbell, that was true that I said in the book, like I had a 20-pound package on the porch. FedEx man came up, picked the package up, and Ring doorbell didn't even pick it up. So there are ways kind of around this Ring doorbell situation. So yeah, even the cars that I referenced in that were found, there was like 30 cars found in the Allegheny River. Like I think they had people in them. I think it was like a mob thing.
No.
Right. But I put that in the book. I mentioned it in the book and people were like, that's not real. Right. And I'm like,
it's real. It's based on reality and things that have occurred.
Yeah. We even cased all the locations. We went to every location in Stolen Pieces where I left a piece to see like, how can I reasonably leave this piece here? Can I do it without being seen? And I'm like, okay, this is probably going to be a problem. So we can't do it here. We're going to have to go down to the next stop. And yeah.
That's definitely a lot of research and intentionality for a book that you didn't want to write. Just a note. Definitely a lot of thought went into it. And I think that's why you can, like, as a reader, be able to just like lean into the suspense instead of having to pause because you're trying to figure out what's happening, because it's very descriptive. So like, what's happening, as much as you're supposed to, I'll put it that way, at each point, what's happening with the characters, what they're doing, what does it look like, which makes it like a really great reading experience. So to hear that you put a lot of research in it is even better, because like we could suspend belief, but things are actually accurate. That makes it have a touch more reality, even in a fiction story.
Yes, thank you. Oh, girl, you should have seen Stolen Pieces 3. Now that shit, I don't know if you saw the story where it, or the video I posted the other day with, it was all pitch black and you're just hearing the words. When I wrote Stolen Pieces 3, I don't type, I dictate my books into the phone, which is part of the reason why they sound so conversational, because I'm literally saying it, the conversation, right? Not trying to be all
Mhm.
correct when I'm typing, but um, when she's restrained, and you read part three,
Mhm.
right? Yeah,
Yes,
when
yeah.
she's restrained in that manner, and she's in that pitch dark room. It was like winter when I wrote that, so my house is freezing. It's not insulated.
Mm.
So I took the covers off. I restrained myself. Don't ask why I have a restraint system on my bed. That is not the point. The point is
Not my business.
I got the phone in one free hand and I'm restrained at 3 points in the pitch black room dictating this book into the phone. Okay.
Mhm.
And because, like, how do I feel right now? My fingers are like cold, my toes are numb. Can I reach this nightstand that I'm referencing? Like, and I'm trying to shake my bed. Like, can I reach it? I can't reach it. Okay. So we're gonna have to figure out something else. That's not gonna work. Like, realistically. So yeah, we went through all of the scene to be able to write that as realistically as possible. Crazy.
Oh, wow. I can't even imagine what that would have looked like. Being stuck that way and then also writing at the same time.
I know.
How did you decide like how dark you wanted to go as far as the storyline is concerned? Because as I was reading for like the first one, yes, like we know there's like a killer out there, there's a serial killer, they're trying to figure out who it is. But then it definitely gets progressively darker with each book. As different things transpire. Folks will have to read it to figure out what that is.
Yep.
So was that like an intentional decision or just like something you thought you wanted to do based on the story you wanted to tell?
It just happened. I don't and then once it was done, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so dark. What do I do? Like, I don't know what to do because,
Mhm.
like, the first one was just normal, and then the second one gets a little spicier, but and, a little darker. But then by
Yeah.
three, you're just like, I don't I I don't want to alienate the people who like normal thrillers,
Mhm.
but I don't
Mhm.
want to make it so dark that those crazy dark people are like, yes. So I was trying to I had to pull some stuff like back and out, like, okay, we can't do that. Let's not
Mm.
show that. But I mean, I put trigger warnings on everything. I told y'all the book is gonna start at like 8:15 and you're gonna blink and hiccup by the midway through the book, and it's gonna be like half past midnight, and you're gonna be like, what happened?
Yes,
And it made the
definitely.
audiobook that much better. So yeah.
Yes, yes. We definitely have to talk about your audiobook narration as well. With in addition to reading the story, the additional sound effects. And it's like a whole audio experience. And the Stolen Pieces, the first one, that was your first audiobook, is that right?
Yes.
What made you decide to narrate the book yourself or even approach narration?
Well, I got laid off. Like, so like, okay, I can't afford a narrator right now. And I'm so like anal and type A about everything that I don't even know if I could just let it go. Like, because I
Mhm.
hear it in my head. Like when I wrote the book, it was like I saw it in the blackness on the ceiling, like while I was dictating. I'm like, I'm watching the shit play out. So I'm just saying into the phone what's happening. Like I sound crazy right now, just for the but that's
Well,
how
you
I'm
are
writing.
not the only author that hears and sees things, so you're in good company as far as
Okay, okay,
that's
good.
concerned.
Okay. So yeah,
Mhm.
I hear it. I hear it how I want it said. I hear it like it's on this ceiling screen. So yes, I was like, well, I guess I could do it myself. I have a bachelor's degree in television production, and audio is a component of television.
Mhm.
Um and communication, of course. But so I was like, I'll just do it myself. How hard could this be?
Yes. Well, how hard was it?
Took me 8 months. 8 months to do the first audiobook.
Mm.
And then I ended up re-recording it, like, completely just recently because I was not pleased. Like, Yeah.
Did it take that length of time because of like the technical aspect, or because like you had like a very clear picture or sound of what you wanted it to look like and trying to figure out how to like recreate that?
Well, part of it took 8 months because I didn't, um in my mind, I'm like, "I can just record it here in the dining room."
Mm,
What? No, no, you cannot record it in the dining room, like, so it had
mhm,
a just a kind of a different, more spacious sound to it, as
mm,
opposed to, like, the nice, tight, insulated sound, and so, since I had a corpse displayed on my great-great-great-aunt's dining room table for Halloween, it kind of disabled me from being able to record, so that part kinda, set me
mm,
back a little. And I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. Like the systems and software has changed since me going to school for this. So I had to
mhm.
like relearn everything. And I didn't know what I was doing. I hated my voice, um, all of it. So yeah, just
Mhm. I'm glad you cleared up that the corpse was for Halloween, because you did just throw a corpse in there.
I'm always just
You
throwing a corpse in there.
just yes, just have to check, just make sure. So what about what did you want to continue to create? Like you're working on this audiobook and it's taking you a long time. What made you continue to keep working on it as opposed to be saying like, you know what? It was nice because not every author has audiobooks, not every book has an audiobook. So what kept you going and wanting to at least get that first one completed? Even though you've recently re-recorded it, but just wanted to know.
Because it needed to be an audiobook. Like, I heard it in my head. One thing about me is I'm gonna score the shit out of an audiobook. Like, I'm gonna piece that music together, cut chunks out. It's gonna crescendo where I want it to crescendo, decrescendo, and then boom in where I needed to do the thing. So
Mhm,
in my mind, like because I love movies and television so much, I just wanted every book of mine to sound like you're watching it on television, but you just like turned to do dishes or something, but you're still listening to it, right?
mhm,
And so
mhm,
and it's such a good story. I think it's such a good story that it had to be an audio. Like we're not gonna just quit. Like that's not a thing.
mhm.
Now, if I was not happy with the book, then maybe I would have just quit.
No, I definitely agree. It definitely adds additional layers with all of the sound effects and your narration choices and telling the story. So it definitely feels much different than if I were to just read the book. Like I would still enjoy the story, but it's just a different experience. It almost reminds me of those old school radio dramas where it was like the footstep, like you all have the footsteps, you have the door creaking, you have all like the sounds in there, so that way it feels like I'm right there with them as they are finding pieces as they, somebody's doing things in the woods. You'll have to read that to find out what that's about. But definitely feel like I am a part of the story.
Yes.
Mhm.
Thank you. That's good.
You're welcome. So you did have a slight shift from the Stolen Pieces series to the How to Kill series, which is, we still have bodies piling up, but it's a little bit of a lighter approach. So what was the inspiration for that series?
I like in terms of the overall genre of it, I don't even think I intended it to necessarily be a dark comedy mystery. It just kept coming out so funny. Like, this is not, people are not supposed to be laughing. We're supposed to be mysterious and thrilling the people, but this shit is
Mhm.
freaking hilarious because even with Stolen Pieces, people would message me and be like, "Am I supposed to be laughing right now? Because this is funny shit." Like, I've given up. I don't even know. But yeah, I got this new neighbor, and I'm just like, take him, Lord, take him. Because my old neighbor was amazing. Like, you don't understand. So he was gay. So everything was like pristine outside. And I loved him, everything about him. But when he went away, sadly, I got a new one.
Is their name Linda? Was their name Linda?
No, Linda's actually the only character that isn't one specific character. Linda's kind of like a combination of several neighbors around, and I just happened to place Linda next door
Gotcha.
to me.
Gotcha.
But that's how it all started, me getting a new neighbor that I wanted to take out. And I'm just like, if he were still alive right now, I would not have written this book. Like, this would not have been a book. Like, the whole series never would have happened. I would have just been done and still in pieces and content.
Well, I'm glad that you had an inspiration for the book. Because that was the first book of yours that I read, and it was just so funny and hilarious. I like laughing at dark things. So what's a couple of bodies and like really trying to, what I'll say is, take control of your neighborhood, of who's there, the environment you want, the people who are there. And then if someone doesn't fit, then, they don't have to be there necessarily.
They don't have to be there. I got this shed out back. That's a real place. My shed is real, just so you know. And I think that's the fun part of this series, is because people think, oh, it's just fiction series. It's not. It's based on my real life neighbors. I did not change all the names. I only changed some of the names, and they all read it. My coworkers, How to Kill Your Coworkers, based on my real life coworkers. I did change all those names across a couple different jobs. I told those stories. And then How to Kill Your Readers was based on real life reader scenarios. But the whole series, I use my actual readers' names throughout the entire series. So just because it's fun, they're going to read the book. So like, you find your name in a book and you're like, oh gosh, I'm in the book. Okay, am I going to make it? Oh shit.
Right. Because you might only be in there for 3 sentences.
That's true.
Depending on what's happening.
That, but you made it. Hey, look, I made it.
Yes.
Right? And then How to Kill Your Stalker, it literally circles back around and connects with How to Kill Your Neighbors. Did you finish it? So you got bonus content in yours because I took the images out of the ones that are going on Amazon and Kindle.
Oh, really? Okay.
So yeah, everyone who ordered that version has extra content, and yeah, you should have pre-ordered. But that's real. Like the picture of the houses, that's how close we are. Like if I stand outside and put my arms out, I can't even straighten my arms.
Oh wow.
That's how close we are. So when Tanisha was like, shh, this person needs to get into the house, and I'm like, how? I have a security system. They can't just get in the house. And then I was upstairs one day looking at that window, and I'm like,
could make something work.
Right? Like, it'll be easy enough. Like if my house got fire, or like crawl across the next house.
Yeah, with the How to Kill series, was that also one that you intended it just to be the first book, as opposed to it being a series?
Supposed to be one book. They were all supposed to be a standalone. I was never supposed to have series. I never wanted to have series. I wanted just 3 standalone books and done. I don't have any standalones. So, but it seems like every time I finish a first book, everyone's like, no, where's the rest? And so even when I try to end it in a manner that I'm like, it's done, they don't ever think it's done. So I'm just gonna have to start streaming.
I will say, after reading How to Kill Your Stalker, there's still opportunity there.
There's not. I wrapped it. You saw me wrap it up. I gave you real
I don't feel it's wrapped, but
you don't feel it's wrapped because you're not wrapped all that tight. You damn self. So
I don't think it's wrapped. I'm not
You
gonna pressure you.
you
That's my perspective.
and
Because
it
I'm
always
reading
stood
it and
out.
I'm reading to the end, and I was waiting for the point where it's like, okay, yes, this is capital letters, the end. And there's an opportunity. There's an
Oh, because
opportunity.
I didn't put it in all caps, because I
No,
can go
no.
to the front and put it in all caps. The hell? This book ain't published on Amazon yet.
Based on the storyline, I feel like it could be an opportunity. It could be.
And see, and I told Tanisha, I said, you know what? I just need to have a gas leak and blow the whole block up. And then they can't get another book.
Mhm. It's, you if you want to stop there, that is definitely your prerogative. But as a reader, I can say that there is an opportunity there to continue. So,
When I tell you that the third book was supposed to be it, like that was
mhm.
it, I sprayed the books. I had the series sprayed. Like once you spray the books, that's supposed to be it.
Is it?
Yes, you can't add book to a series that's sprayed. That's so in poor taste. Like, so I sprayed. I was like, "We're done. I'm not writing another book. I'm spraying the edges now. I can do this." And
Mhm.
here comes another book. So I had to send the whole set back down to my spray bitch. I'm like, "Here, add this book in," and she did. She did a really good job adding uh, the book in to make it look like it came
It
with.
came together.
Yes.
Mhm.
Granted, the text isn't as centered as it should be because there's a whole another book at the bottom now of the stack, but
Mhm.
she did a good job.
That's good. I'll say, and again, we'll keep this spoiler free. And one thing I appreciate about your series is that they are fully connected. Because I personally do not believe when an author tells me it's an interconnected standalone. Because I'm like, if these characters were somewhere else, I need to start where they started. So I appreciate that you mentioned to folks multiple times, like you cannot just start with coworkers. Like that's not going to work. You can't just start with readers. You have to read all the way through. And with How to Kill Your Stalker, without giving spoilers, uh, Rhea has made some decisions in the previous 3 books, has made some enemies. And now she has to like deal with the consequences. So this one, like you said, it does have like that connection. It does have that connection to Stolen Pieces as well. So if you've read that series, and you'll see the connection too. But that one has like a slightly darker tone than the previous 3. So what was your process or thought about making that one a little darker?
I wasn't intentional. It seems like my last book is always the darkest. It is not. It's not intentional, but it just happened that way. And after I finished it, same with Stolen Pieces 3, I was like, this is kind of dark. We started out kikiing and How to Kill Your Neighbors. Linda is
Mhm.
trash. And Christina and the green vegan dog poop from Lester, the German Shepherd. And we got to this. How did this happen? Where did we go wrong? But I
Mhm.
asked all 10 beta readers, I was like, should I change this? Is it too dark? And they were like, that's what they all say. They're all so disturbed. And I have different beta readers this time than I did for Stolen Pieces. And
Mhm.
all of them were like, no, that's the story. That's just how it happens. So it just needs to be that way. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
okay, y'all have been warned. I put the trigger warnings in there. I'll tell y'all it's gonna get a little darker.
Mhm. Yes, I definitely appreciate that. I'll still read it anyway, even regardless of like the triggers, but I appreciate knowing what I'm getting into and having that up at the forefront. As you think of like your books, specifically like the Stolen Pieces series and the How to Kill series, what do you think is like consistent about the universe that you've created?
The reality of it. Like so much of it, like even the layout of the houses, the actual people, their personalities, the layout of the workplaces. Like if you actually worked in the place that I'm discussing, you're going to know where I'm referencing, right? Just and then with How to Kill Your Readers, bringing the other authors into it, because I talk to them so much, I'm able to write very realistic dialogue of things that they would say, except Anna J. And unwaveringly, she's like, I would never say that. Well, you're going to say it now, so get on that mic and get it done. But and the humor, because it doesn't matter how hard I try. Like I was writing a thriller, a crime thriller, yet somehow I'm cracking up the whole way through book 2. Like I could not. I was like, if y'all can make it through book 2 and not laugh, I'll give you $5. I ain't had to pay nobody nothing yet. So
yes.
So yeah, I think those two things are very much a theme throughout all of my books. I try to keep them as real as possible, even fictionally real, and the humor.
If you heard a reader raving about your work and was trying to tell someone else, like, you should definitely be reading J.R. Mason, what 3 words would you want to hear them say?
Funny, definitely funny, because yeah, a little disturbed, yeah, and unputdownable.
Yeah. Yes, I would agree. Those are all good. Those are all great. And then, like, we already talked a little bit about it, but in addition to your writing, whether it's reluctant or not, as far as continuing to write, you also narrate audiobooks. Like, you don't just narrate yours, you narrate others. So how did that come to be, from spending 8 months trying to get Stolen Pieces together to now narrating a lot of audiobooks, specifically in like the thriller and horror category?
So it all started with Kenya Moss Dime, because she heard Stolen Pieces when it was done, part 1, and I was like, this would make a great audiobook, because I was like just in chapter 1 when I was reading it, and she was like, oh, you want to do it? And I'm like, yeah. And so that was it. Like I did it. It was fun. It came out really well. And she even has a bonus chapter at the end, where she and I are discussing like just how Progeny came to be and the narrating of it and everything. Just fun little bonus. So that was the start of the bonus reels. And then from there, someone was like, oh, you did Kenya's, you could do mine. You want to do mine? And I'm like, all right. And then just kept going. I've done 6 of Tanisha Stewart's so far. And I don't know if have you listened to any of her audios from me?
Yes, for the Red series. Yeah, I think the most recent one I listened to was The Trainer.
Them bonus chapters.
Yes.
Look, I be saying all the stuff that the readers are thinking, like, put it down, throw it away, go run. What are you doing?
Yes. And then another one that I'm thinking of, I listened to, was Dragged into Darkness. That yes. That was the time. That was the time. Yes.
I did 3 of Gilletta Shaver's audiobooks and 2 of Samira Alexander's audiobooks. And when I tell you, did you listen to The Booger Snatcher?
Which one?
The Booger Snatcher.
No, I did not.
Look, the way I did not want to do that audiobook, like it needs to be studied. And I told Samira this. She knows I didn't want to do the audiobook. And Anna J was like, she's going to call you for this. And I'm like, she's not going to call me. It's short. Why would you turn something this short into an audiobook? Here comes Samira's ass on my phone talking about, hey, I need an audiobook for Booger Snatcher. I'm like, I don't want to say that. I don't want to have to list that in my list. You know, you got these deep, Progeny, Stolen Pieces, like The Hitchhiker, The Booger Snatcher. What? That audiobook came out so good. That shit is so funny. And I swear, if that shit don't get nominated for some sort of best audiobook this year, like they're all hating. Everybody's just hating. Because there's no way. It came out, it was so good. It was so much fun. It's so funny. And I don't know. I put my whole broken foot up in that audio.
what does your approach look like when you're narrating someone else's work compared to like when you're narrating your own?
I care more about the words. Like, I didn't realize immersive reading was so much of a thing. So if I'm reading
Oh, like
my
if someone's
own,
following along and then you say something different than what the text says, definitely.
yes. And so I would just in my own, I just be like, oh, well, that sounds better like this. So I just but I stick more to the narration, like the manuscript on theirs. And
Mhm,
if something does sound weird that I need to change, I consult with the author, and so they can change it in the manuscript. Now, if they don't change it in the manuscript, that is not my fault. It was the
mhm.
staff. I'm just putting that on out there. But one thing I do wish more listeners would take into consideration is, I'm noticing just not even just my books, like any books, where the reader doesn't like the story, they take it out on the narrator. And so there's
Mhm,
two separate rating systems for that reason. Sometimes the story's good and the narration's not, or vice versa. So why, if this story was so predictable and I hated every minute of it, and that's okay, you give the story one, but if the narrator actually did a good job, why are you giving them one as well?
mm, mhm. Yeah.
And some of them I've listened to, and I'm like, this narrator did not do a bad job. There's no clicking, no popping, no hissing, no chewing, no weird air noises. Like
Mhm,
and there was emotion. They did a solid job. So I don't understand why you're penalizing the narrator for the fact that you didn't like the story. All we're doing is reading the words. And so
mhm.
I wish like people would think about that before they leave their reviews.
Yeah, I think that definitely makes a lot of sense, and I know, like, for me, as far as, like, when I'm reviewing, I I separate out the 2. So, like you said, if there's, like the audiobook is really good, like, well production, my thing is, like, swallows. Like, I don't wanna I don't wanna hear like, I understand everyone has to breathe. I get it. I get it. But, like, things like that, if, like, everything is, like, really good, I make note of that, but if it's, um and I've had the reverse happen where, like, the narration, I was like, "Oh, I'll just read the book. I I don't know what's happening here, so let me just read it and I'll just stop the audio." But I think that definitely makes a lot of sense because you're talking about like an Audible where you can rate separately.
Yep.
Mhm.
But I mean, even when you're leaving the Amazon review for the book, that some people,
Mm,
they hate the story, but like if the narration was solid, say that because that's important.
mhm,
Because if you don't like the story, but someone else may like the story, so the fact
mhm.
that the narration was solid is only going to help, and you're dragging that author's score down unnecessarily
Yeah.
if they actually had a good narrator. Now, like you, I've had listened to some where I was like, whoo, no, I had to call Audible once and it was like, I need you to delete this from my account because it keeps connecting to my Kindle. And I just want rather have that bland Caucasian lady read this book to me than whatever the hell's happening here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think as someone who really enjoys audiobooks, I think it's definitely a very special skill to be able to narrate, and it feels like I want to keep listening. It's a really engaging scenario. And then with you, and you get the bonus of the sound effects. So, like, if something is supposed to be real creepy or, something like that, you get like that benefit, which is really nice. When you're thinking about like the books you've narrated for other people, which was your favorite book to narrate?
That
If
is
you have to
so
pick, if you have
good.
to pick I'll give you 2 if you have to
2,
pick 2.
no, yeah, you can't do 2. Because look, the Boogie Snatcher, that shit was fun. That shit was
Mhm.
crazy fun. But the Hitchhiker had me like,
Mm.
because
Yes.
that was the darkest one out of all her books. But then
Mhm.
the trainer, I got to co-narrate with Drama Simpson. That was my first time ever doing that. So that was fun. But then
Mhm.
Dragged into Darkness was crazy as hell. So I was listening to that at 11 o'clock at night, editing and something. I thought I was editing tonight. We're not doing this no more. I will listen to this shit in daytime. That had me shook. So there was that. But then Progeny, I gave birth to a demon baby right here. It was insulated though. I didn't just do it right here.
Yes, yeah, I got you.
But the thing is, and that's all I tell people all the time. I gave birth to a demon baby in the dining room. Go listen to the book. It's dope. So like they all have some fun. I can't. That's so hard to pick just one. And now I'm doing a romance.
What kind of romance are you doing?
Like one where nobody dies. What kind of unnatural shit is that, Sean?
Contemporary romance?
Yeah, it's like a real romance. And like the people are like falling in love and stuff. And I was like, can I push him in front of a truck? Or if he slips in the shower and then we could hold his face under the running water? Like, and she was like, no, you can't do that. Okay.
Are you narrating it yourself, or do you have are you doing dual narration for that one?
It's a duet narration with Drama Simpson.
Okay. Okay.
So I guess it's the only way I'm getting made love to anytime soon.
Can you say what book it is, or?
Yes. If I were your best friend, if I was your best friend, yeah, by Nisha.
Okay. Okay.
And it's
I have to hear you do contemporary romance. I'm trying to imagine what that would sound like without, the ominous music that you like to play into the backgrounds.
I know. I was like romance stuff going on, and it's different. It's different. I did do Divorce Party by Daisy Savage. So that no one died in that either.
Okay, I'll check that one out too. and see which other sounds pop up that have no death attached to them in that one.
That's the only one too. I've done 20, 21, 22 audiobooks. That's the only one where no one dies so far until this one's done.
When you mentioned about I don't know what your official name is, but like your thriller horror crew, that's what I'll call it, as far as like all of the indie ladies who dabble in thriller and horror together. How did that relationship start, as far as you all, because you all do an amazing job of like promoting each other's work and then supporting each other's work as well. So how did that come to be?
So Tanisha Stewart did a book review for Stolen Pieces 1, and she absolutely hated Claudia, my main character. Hated her with every fiber of her being. And I was like, well, damn. She liked the story though, and she loved the way it ended. So she had to go to book 2. She was like, nope, I need to go. I need to see what's happening right now. So she read book 2 and she was like, what am I reading? So she went on and made another video. She's like, y'all got to read book 2 right now. And I'm like, you can't just read book 2. You have to read book 1. Like book 2 is not going to be nearly as funny or anything, because you need that, like, I'm talking about that. So I can say,
you need context. Otherwise, it does not make sense. Yeah.
Right. And so that's when she and I started talking. And then she was like, oh, I got this thriller group. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fun. And so I joined, on Facebook. And then I was like, ooh, these are Black people and they're writing thrillers and stuff. This is exciting. And then that's pretty much how I met them all. And Kira, I read her book in an anthology, her story, and I slid in her DMs like a whole sociopath, like, hi, I liked your book. Your writing is so much fun. And she's like, thanks, we could be friends. And I was like, okay. And that was it. Like the rest was history.
Yeah, I love it. And then they make appearances in the books. So if you're paying attention, you should recognize some names popping up.
Yes. And them doing the audio was just epic. Everything about it. They did such a good job. Like, they did really good. That's amazing.
And then isn't there a thriller event that's coming up too with everybody?
Yep. Licensed to Thrill in October in Nashville, Tennessee. I think it's 23rd and 24th, 24th, 25th. Girl, I'm so bad with the dates. End of October. and tickets are on sale now. And there's a murder mystery, and it's supposed to be a fake murder.
Supposed to be?
Supposed to be a fake murder, Shalon. I said what I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
It can't just be a fake murder. We have to have supposed to be in front of fake. Gotcha.
Yeah. And, and you're going to be totally safe. Everyone there is going to be safe. Even though Kenya did mention gas in the room and how to kill your readers, but
she did.
She's not going to bring any gas or nothing because it's not TSA approved, right? She might drive though. So I don't know about these women. All I know is you're going to be totally safe. Are you coming?
I have to check my life insurance policies just to make sure, you know, everything is up to date. I would definitely love to come. I've been trying to do more book events across genres since I like all of them, and it definitely sounds like a fun time. Like you had me at murder mystery. If it's a fake murder mystery as opposed to a real murder mystery.
It's supposed to be fake. Tony said it's fake. So if you trust Tony, then
okay.
And you can use code JMason to get a 10% discount on tickets.
Oh, cool. Oh, even better. And then hopefully I can make it home after the event.
You didn't make it home in How to Kill Your...
Exactly. That's what you see. Now that's why I have to check my policies, my beneficiary. I have to do some work first, just in case.
I mean, upside, I can only kill you once, right?
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. As you're thinking about like your work, are there any other like genres or tropes that you would love to explore that you haven't had a chance to yet?
I thought about fantasy, but I don't know about that. But I also didn't think I could write a thriller either, because I was like, in thrillers, people have to make dumb decisions to keep the story going, right?
Yeah.
You almost always see. But I didn't want characters who are stupid. And so I was like, I don't know if I can do it. But I feel like most of my characters did not make dumb decisions. So I feel like I accomplished that. But so I don't know how it, with all my work so heavily rooted in reality, how do I write a fantasy and make it? I don't know.
Well, it could be like an urban fantasy. So it's like it's the real world, but it just has magical elements, like things like that. So it could still be reality, but just you have the mystical elements. And depending on how many you have, it could be magical realism where it's like like some things are slightly magical or like not explainable. So yeah, but it still could be rooted in reality and in Pittsburgh if that's where you would like it to be set as well.
That's true. But yeah. I'm done for now. I'm straight. I am. Like, people keep saying, you keep saying that. But no, this book tied everything back together, and so I'm good. I am done, because some of these reader spaces are like less than fun, and I don't like it. I have anxiety all the time with these books. Every time I check reviews, I'm like fight, flight, or freeze mode all the time. Are people gonna like it or not? Like, I don't know. And maybe I shouldn't care as much, but I put so much work into them, and I want people to enjoy them. So it causes anxiety, and I don't like it.
That definitely makes sense. I know some authors don't check reviews at all. Is that something you thought about doing? About just like, I'm not going to check reviews. Once it's out there, and then.
I do stay off Goodreads because I feel like people tend to be meaner on Goodreads and say a lot of stuff that Amazon actually won't even let you say. But no, I do still check reviews because, I'm interested. I want to know, especially with the audio, if I can get better and make it better in any way, shape, or form, and they're leaving like valid,
Mhm.
feedback that will be usable in the future, then yes, I want to know that because I always want to improve. But some people are just mean and just say mean things. And
Mhm.
knock on wood, I have not had too many of those. But I see other people's reviews, and I'm just like, how
Yeah.
could you say that? Like this person, whether I like the book or not, whether I like the author or not, they still put so much work into it, like, and
Mhm.
money, so much money. I don't understand how expensive this shit is.
Mhm.
And like, so to just say such horrible things. So yeah, I don't enjoy it. That's the
Yeah.
part I like.
Mhm. Yeah, that's definitely understandable, and a lot of folks do not realize how much effort it is. Like, I get the benefit of, like, having the book when it's finished, and I could just pick it up, read it, enjoy it or not, or, love it or not, without necessarily thinking about, like, all of the steps to it just even being printed on paper, let alone editing and all those things. So definitely there is an opportunity for folks to be more thoughtful in like their reviews. And you could say you don't like something and still be respectful while doing it. Definitely.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
that is the whole premise of How to Kill Your Readers, because it's
Mhm.
like, why would you say this? There was a post about a specific book and a specific author in one of these groups on Facebook, and the original poster was like, "I hated this book. It was so unrealistic." Yada yada. She's going off. Okay,
Mhm.
but when you do that, then everybody else who even mildly disliked the book, they jump in, right? And
Mhm.
then anyone who did enjoy the book, when they jump in to say, "Well, I like this about it," then they're demonized and villainized and like
Yeah.
skewered as a stake, like, and it's like, I didn't even read the book, so I can't say anything one way or the other, but I don't like those kind of posts, like,
Mhm.
and it's all in the way you word it. Even if you posted it and you were just like, hey, I just finished this, what were your thoughts, then that leaves it open for the people who do like it can like it, the people who don't like it, but it's just, yeah, I don't know, I don't.
Mhm. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So did you say How to Kill Your Stalker is your last book or
I would
the
like it to
last
be,
of that series?
well, it's definitely the last of the series. I
Mhm.
don't care what Anna J says. She's talking about this a 10-book series. It was not a 10-book series, Anna J. Somebody go tell her, please. Um, she's out here telling people this, and these people are thinking there's another book coming. There's not another book. But I would be content if this were it. Um, yeah.
Mhm. So any thoughts on any other books or inspirations?
And for me writing them?
Mhm.
No. No, because I still got people asking for a Confessions 3. I still got people asking for a Stolen Pieces
Mm.
4. Somebody was like, "I need the origin story of the series." No, you do not. They're like, "We get a prequel." No, you cannot have a prequel. No, no means no. I sprayed the edges. We're done. Like,
Ah, that's funny. So, if someone wanted to start in your catalog, where do you think they should start if they wanted to read you for the first time?
that's so hard because everyone has such different tastes.
Mhm.
I tend to point people in the direction of the How to Kill series only because literally How to Kill is Confessions and Stolen Pieces. If those two book series of mine got together and
Mhm.
had a baby, it would be
Mhm.
the How to Kill series because you got the mystery, you got the thriller aspects, you got the humor. So you got the How to Kill. So I would say start with the How to Kill series, and they're quick, they're not long. So if you're just looking for, to get through something real quick, yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good option. And then also, if they enjoy audiobooks at all, definitely listen to it on audio and get the full impact there. What is the best way for readers to support you?
Leave a review. Oh my gosh, that would be so helpful because
Mhm.
I'm looking at my reviews and I'm like, I have sold like 9 times the amount of reviews I have. where are the reviews? I'm seeing Kindle page numbers go up, go up, go up, and then I'm looking at the reviews and they're still the same. At the end of the Kindle book, it literally says, would you like to leave a star rating or a review?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, so that would be a start.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yes. We all need to leave some reviews. And do you think it's helpful to have the star rate, like at least have the star rating, but then add like a few sentences about what you enjoyed, like to actually like type something out?
I mean, that's always more helpful because people don't realize Amazon weights everything so differently. Like if it's a verified purchase, it's weighted differently than if 5 people buy the book from my event and they all leave 5-star reviews. It might move it up a little, but like 2 verified purchases, the leave star ratings and write 2 sentences, that will like literally just move it up, right? And they're not taking any, I think people just don't know that, but like, even if you wrote a few sentences, it's helpful. But even if you left the stars, that's still at least helpful because Amazon won't even push our stuff out until we have a certain number of reviews. And they're just so difficult and they treat us like trash, which is why we try to keep our websites up to date.
To buy from you directly. So then that way you're not having to, I don't know what the share is, but I know Amazon.
I will share the share with you. I will tell you right now, Amazon takes 40% of every book sale plus printing. And Audible takes 60 to 75% of every audiobook sale.
Wow.
Depending if you're exclusive or if you're not. So that's crazy. Like, that's crazy. Like, you should get 30% at most. And I feel like that's being generous.
Yes, especially when all they are is just the place in which it could be purchased, not putting any thought. You were not, talking to Amazon at night about your storyline or, they were not editing any of the book or any of that. So yeah.
And then the fact that Audible takes that much, but they don't even let you set your own prices. They set our prices. Like, we don't get to set our prices. I don't think people know that stuff either, you know? And then like I saw this one post from an author and she was talking about, oh yeah, with Kindle Unlimited, we get paid by the page read and we'll make just as much if you read the book on Kindle Unlimited as we will if you buy it. No, that you don't. You get 0.004 cents per page read. So if someone reads all of How to Kill Your Neighbors, I get 49 cents. I'm about to go buy some eggs, at least one egg, maybe just
not even the way eggs are going up, not even.
Or I could get the yolk for the 49 cents. So yeah, like I'm not sure. So there's a lot of misinformation out there and just information that's not even out there. People are just hiding it. And like, why hide it? You should know how much Amazon is taking from the authors. And then people are out pirating the books. And then when they do that, and then Amazon finds out, and then they shut our whole thing down. We didn't want our books to get pirated. We would much rather them buy them from you because at least we see something.
Yeah.
So I don't know, child. It's crazy.
Yes. Well, we can definitely purchase directly from you since you do have your website. So that way you're not having to share and add reviews. So that way more people know and can see and want to read the books as well. And if somebody wants to connect with you on social media, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Probably TikTok or Instagram. I'll be acting a whole fool on social media. Don't pay me no mind, y'all. But I have clickable links to my website on both of those platforms. So yeah.
Alrighty. All right. Well, I appreciate you taking time out to talk with me today, and not keeping me alive in one of your books. Folks will have to read to see which one that is.
Yes. But it's all in fun and love.
Yes, I appreciate it. I was definitely shocked. I was on a plane and my eyes probably bugged out of my head. I was like, "Wait a minute, hold on, what's going
That's funny.
on?" Well, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
go and put more ice on this foot. I cannot believe this happened.
Yes, please take care of yourself.
And it's like event season. I have so many events coming up, and like I need both of my feet for this.
Yes, yes, definitely. Oh, where can folks find you if they're local? Which events will you be at?
Oh gosh. Is anyone local anymore? I'll be well, I don't even know. When is this airing?
This would be May 27th.
May 27th. So the official book signing for How to Kill Your Stalker is on June 27th.
Mhm.
And it is going to be at Cafe Nero, which is mentioned in the book. And she's actually making the Dead Velvet cheesecake
Ooh.
that's for the event. So yeah, we're
That'll be
doing it there,
good. Okay.
12 to 3.
Well, I
So
hope
come on up, Shalon. Fly up.
I would definitely have to fly for that one. That sounds good. That dessert sounded delicious. So I might have to try to figure out a way to get up there.
And this was their idea. I was like, I never need to do another book signing again in my life. I would be fine if I never did it again. Because that was stressful too. I
Oh,
was my stressed, Shalon. Like, I'm like, nobody's gonna come. Look, everybody came. I sold out of the books,
that's
but I have
amazing.
pity. So I was like, I did it once. I don't ever need to do it again. And I didn't. And now here we are. She was like, we should do it. And I'm like, okay.
Well, I hope it sells out. I hope the dead velvet cake is delicious. And you take lots of pictures as well.
Yeah, I will.
All right, have a good evening.
You too.